As you recall in the previous training video, we learned about the compatibility checker, and we took our original document and we saved it in an earlier version of Word. And that version was, well, 97 through 2003. Here I want to show you that if you have earlier versions of Word, you may want to convert it to the latest version so it gets all the benefits behind the latest version of Word. More specifically, it's got the XML language. It makes the file more stable and smaller. So if I open up this earlier version of Word, that you can see when I hover over it, in the pop-up it says it was created, or as we did in the previous training videos, saved it in an earlier version of Word 97 through 2003. So that could have been 97, 2000, 2002, or 2003. That's the range. Go ahead and double click to open it up. And you can see up at the top on the title bar in square brackets that it's in compatibility mode. So we can view this earlier version in the latest version, something that's compatible to the later version. If you don't want to see that anymore, but upgrade it to the latest version so you can get all the benefits behind the latest version of Word 2016, then go ahead and click on the File tab, go Backstage, Info selected by default, and there you go, Compatibility Mode. It says some new features are disabled to prevent problems when working with previous versions of Office. Converting this file will enable these features, but may result in layout changes. So depending on how extensive you worked in earlier versions of this document, that when it starts converting it may flip things around a little bit or adjust it or move it, and then you can go ahead and clean it up. And you can see the benefits behind it is the latest features in Word 2016, but also if you're coming from 97 through 2003, you'll get the XML or extensible markup language that comes with this that makes, again, the file smaller and less likely to be corrupted. So let's go ahead and click on Convert. It says your document will be upgraded to the newest file format. While you'll be able to use all the new features in Word, this may cause minor layout changes. If you prefer not to upgrade, click Cancel. So again, converting allows you to use the new features of Word and reduces the size of your file. This document will be replaced by the converted version. Sound good? Okie dokie. When I click OK, notice up here on the title bar, it no longer says in square brackets compatibility mode. So if I go ahead and close out, and I say yes, must not go ahead and go back to the earlier version of DLC. We want to save it to the latest version. And there we go, the earlier version, no longer the .doc. Now it's been converted to the latest version, the .docx, X for extensible markup language, a more stable language for our documents. So when we go ahead and open it up, double click, we now get all the features that are available in Word 2016 and also a smaller file size and more stable format. If you want to be able to send your document off to somebody else that doesn't have the Word program and they won't be able to open it up, you can go ahead and save it into a file format called PDF. It's pretty much a universal format that's created by Adobe that's free, that they can go ahead and download the program and be able to open up this file that you convert into PDF into that PDF or Adobe Acrobat program. Or maybe you just want to go ahead and convert it to PDF because somebody else who does have Word can make changes to it and you don't want them to make changes to it. So either way, to go ahead and convert this to a PDF document, come up here, click on the Save As command, which I added to my Quick Access toolbar. Opens up the Save As window, change the Save As type from a document to a PDF document, which is, again, created by Adobe. And anybody can go ahead and type in Adobe Acrobat and go to adobe.com's website and be able to download the free Acrobat viewer. By default, it's installed on most computers, but if you don't have it, again, adobe.com, and look for their free Adobe Acrobat reader. And so you can see here that the file name, well, you can change it to whatever you want and say this is for review about us. And it's going to be in the, not the Word document type, but the PDF type. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. Click Save. Automatically saves it, opens it up in the PDF format because this isn't Word. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner the little icon or logo for Adobe Acrobat and, well, the entirely different work area. And so you can go ahead and send that off. Let me close out of here. There's the Word document, close out of here because on my desktop, there's this one. And which one of these is not like the other? There you go. PDF, go ahead and send it off to somebody, email it to them, and you've got your original document. So when they double click to open it up, can they make changes to it? Come in here, delete some text, or hit the backspace key, or try to type over it. No, you can click on the edit drop down arrow. Doesn't allow you to do any of that. And so if they do have Word, but you don't want them to make any changes to it and make it come off that it's their own and they made the document, or again, if somebody doesn't have the Word program installed on their computer, this is a free program that they can open up your converted Word document into this PDF file format in. Of course, once they download the program from adobe.com. Again, it's Adobe Acrobat. A little bit more detail, click on the drop down arrow, and you can see acrobat.com. You can even go there. There are 5 different view modes that you can view your documents with, and you can find them up here on the View tab in the Views group. Now the default that's highlighted is the print layout, so every time you open up Word it's going to be starting up in that view. And the purpose of the print layout, you can hover over it to get more details, is to see how the document will look if printed. If you want to be exact, then you want to go backstage and click on the File tab and go down to Print, and before you click Print, look over here in the Print Preview, because what you see there is what's going to come out of your printer. It's non-editable view. You can't come over here and click in it and make changes to it, but just to be able to see what's going to be coming out of your printer before you click Print. And if there's some things that are arranged not the way you like to see them coming out of your printer, some things that are showing that you don't want to, or some things that aren't that you want to show, then of course you can go back and make those changes in the print layout view. Now in the print layout view, as we discussed in an earlier training video, you'll have your horizontal and vertical rulers to show you the margins. So 1 to 0, the left margin, and then 6.5 to 7.5, the right margin, and then 1 to 0, top margin, and we have the bottom margin as well. And if you don't see your ruler, again, come back up here on the View tab to the Show group, and you can, well, I unchecked it. Let me go ahead and check it. You can check it to see the rulers. And then, of course, within the margin, we've got some text there that's shaded because when I try to click on it, it doesn't allow me to get the cursor in there to edit it. That's known as the header, and we'll talk about this in a later training video, your headers and footers, because what you put in the header section, or the top margin of one page, will be duplicated on the top of every page throughout the entire document. But I digress. Let's keep it simple and cover that in a later training video and move on to our next view, which is going to be the read mode. Now you can click it up here and you can see in the pop-up when I hover over it, the best way to read a document, including some tools designed for reading instead of writing. You can click it there or come down below on the status bar and it's right there. When you hover over it, read mode, then there's the default to print layout. It's highlighted. Well, it's a darker shade of blue, but that's the one that we're currently in. And then the last one is the web layout. So you got your more popular ones down below on the status bar that you can click on to change the views, or you can do it up here. So let's go ahead and click on read mode. And there's the reading mode. If you want to go ahead and go from one page to the next, it's just like a book. You can come over here and grab it, the page, by clicking on the arrow, and it goes to the next page. Or you can use the arrow keys on the keyboard. Hit left, takes me back. And to see what other options you get, like for the reading mode, click on the View drop-down arrow, and you can edit the document because by default, you're reading it. You're not really into editing it, so it switches to the print layout view so you can make the changes. We'll stay here. You got the navigation pane, so if you want to take a tour, click on it. And if you have any headings within your document, that was created by using styles in Word, which we'll talk about in a later training video, so it can identify the headings. As I did here, like my heading mentally, click on it. Takes you right to it. And then when you're done, go ahead and close out. Let's see what other options we get. We can show comments, but I haven't inserted any comments. Column width, well, there's the default, and let's see what wide brings us. Same thing. Click on it again, go down to column width, and let's do narrow. Well, that's a lot nicer for me when it comes to reading, because when I track a line, if I go from here all the way over to here, and I want to come back, well, that's a bit too far. I gotta move my neck a little bit, but it's easier to go ahead and keep the line short so I can easily track when I get to one end to quickly come right back to the next line and not lose myself as I go all the way over here to find out which line I'm going to be on next. And then let's go ahead and click on View, Page Color. Ooh, you get a few options like Sepia. Well, that's kind of sepia cool. And then finally, you've got the layout here. You can do column or paper layout. And so you're back to pretty much the print layout view. But again, you're going from left to right. It's not narrowed down into columns to keep the line shorter. so it doesn't strain the eye on where you're trying to come back to start on the next line for your continued reading pleasure. And then when you're done, to close out, well, you can either go ahead and click on View and say you want to edit the document by going to Print Layout, or better yet, just come down here and click on the Print Layout view. And we're back to where we started. Next is the Web Layout view. You can hover over that, and when you switch to this view, you can see how your document will look as a web page. So when you want to save it as a web page, first take a look to see how it will come across, and if you're okay with that, go ahead and save it. It also says it's great if you have wide tables in your document that you want to view. Let's go ahead and click on it, take a gander, and that's how it's going to look when I save it as a web page. It's got some of the things like read mode off from the Visit Us. That's way over here, so I may want to go ahead and edit the document in here and see if I can't hit enter and maybe put it down below so they're together. I'll go ahead and hit undo because I don't want to be working in this mode. I want to take you to another mode, like how about the draft? Hover over that. You can switch to this to view just the text in your document and only the text. Click on that, gets rid of all the images and objects and graphics. You can scroll up and down, looks nice, and well, there's your page break. That dotted line to let you know that this is going to be on the next page here. And when you click on it, you can look down below in the status bar and it says that you're on page 2 of a total of 2 pages. And in any one of these views, if the text appears a little too tiny for you, then you can come down here. Again, we talked about the zoom feature. Click and drag, zoom over to the right. Wow, that helps. Increase it to 148%. If you want to get back to the default, you can click on that percentage right there and say you can go to the page width or at 100%. The way it's going to appear when it comes out of your printer. Let's go to page width and click okie dokie. And the way it's going to come out of the printer, well, you can click and drag this back to 100%. There you go. That wasn't too bad. And then finally, you've got the outline, and it says here that you can see your document in outline form where content is shown as bulleted points. And it's useful for creating headings and moving whole paragraphs within the document. Go ahead and click on it. And there you go. We've got my headings for each section. This is about physically, mentally, emotionally, and scroll up there spiritually. And I'm using the scrolly button on my mouse here. Of course, you've got the scroll bar. You can click and drag to scroll up and down. And you can see we've got these little bulleted points, well, the plus sign next to the heading. That means if you double click on it really fast, it collapses it. When you collapse it, and I can double click on all of them here, or instead of double clicking on all of them, just to focus on the headings, because maybe I don't want to scroll to get to the next heading, so I can do a quick review of the headings, you can actually come up here on the Outlining tab to the Outline Tools group and click on the Show Level drop-down arrow and say you just want to show level 1. It collapses everything to show you the first level, and the first level is all the headings that are in a heading 1 style. If I had a subheading to that, a heading 2 style, then I can go ahead and click on the drop-down arrow and go to level 2. But I don't have any subheadings or level 2 heading styles in this document, so it doesn't expand to the second level. And we'll talk about heading styles in a later training video, and just getting you worked up to show you how much fun you're going to be having creating documents and making it simple and more efficient when it comes to navigating and working with your documents with all these fancy features. And so something to look forward to. And then you see down below each heading, when I collapse it, you got this fuzzy line. That means that there's actually text below it. So if you don't see a fuzzy line, then you don't have anything below it. So when you go ahead and double click to expand it, or you can go ahead and click on the drop down arrow and show all levels, including the body of the text for each heading. And you can also actually click and drag these bulleted points, at least for the heading, that collapses everything from the heading below to the next heading. Double click, you can actually click and drag that. And you can see when I move it around, you get this line here with the black arrow pointing to the right. Wherever I put that, that's where it's going to drop it and reorder my document. Let go. So no longer step 1 is my first heading, it's step 2. And when I'm done, I can go ahead and close out of the outline view. It's the only view that has the close button. You can do that, or you can come down here and click on the print layout. Either way, click close. Takes us back to the print layout, and step 2 is now the first heading, and then step 1 is the second. But I'm going to come up here and click on the undo button so I can undo that and go back to the correct sequence of step 1, then 2. And then finally, I want to talk about the last location bookmark. After you close the document and reopen it, On this or another computer, it will display a pop-up that will have a welcome back note. That will display how long ago this document was last accessed, and when you click on it, it will take you to the last place that you worked on. So if I come down here and I click right here, step 4, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And I go ahead and close out and I save it. And it's on my desktop and I double click and open it back up. There it is. Welcome back. You want to pick up where you left off? Of course. Well, wow, that was fast. It collapsed on me. But it left me with a little bookmark tag that when I go ahead and hover over it, there we go, it's back. And that's where it says I last left off at was step 4 emotionally a few seconds ago. Ooh, that's pretty eerie. It's keeping track of my time and where I last worked. Or it's very beneficial because when I click on it, it takes me right to it. Before I show you how you can print your document, let's go over the print preview feature because what you see in there is what's going to be coming out of your printer. So you want to take a look at that first because if you don't like it, you don't want to hit the print button and waste all that paper. And the print preview can be accessed one of a couple of ways. You can either use the shortcut keys by holding down the Control key and hitting F2 on the keyboard. It takes you backstage to the print preview, well, where you can also print, but we want to take a look at this first. Or let me hit the back arrow and click on File to go backstage again, and then down to Print, and there you go, Print Preview. So it gives you a layout view of the first page in your document. Out of how many pages? Well, there you go. We got a total of 3 that I can go ahead and click to go to the next page. And again, just take a look at the layout to make sure that I don't have any abnormal spacing between my paragraphs or things that aren't placed right, or I don't have my page numbers, which I know you can't even read. But you can go ahead and zoom in on it to make sure that that's not just a little blob there, that a character you put by accident, that is actually a page number. You can go ahead and click and drag the slider bar over and then scroll down and over to see it. Yep, that's a page number. And you can, of course, go ahead and click and drag to slide it back out, or just come over here and click on Zoom to Page, and it takes us right back to where we started, the complete page view. And then if you want to get back to page 1, well, if you had 100 pages, you don't want to sit here and click, 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 click to get back to it. Instead, go ahead and click inside the box, type in a number, hit enter, takes you right to that page number. And then if you want to get a little bit particular with how you want to zoom into your page, not just use the slider because, boy, if I don't get it right, it kind of jumps around, then go ahead and click on the zoom dialog box, which it doesn't tell you that that's what it is, but just click on the percentage, whatever it is. When you click on it, then it opens up the zoom dialog box and you can go ahead and choose what you'd like 75%. Click okie dokie. I'm going to go back to the zoom to page. And then if everything looks good here, go ahead and print your document. If not, this is a non-editing area. You can't come in here and click and make changes to it, so you have to click the back arrow, go back to the front stage, make your changes, then verify that they've been updated before you go ahead and click print. So if everything looks good, then before you click on the print button, let's go down here to make sure we're printing to the right printer. Go ahead and click on the drop-down arrow, choose your printer, and, well, how many copies do you want? We'll just leave it as 1. Then down below the settings, you can go ahead and click and select, well, the default's all pages, but you do get the option to print the selection. Because I don't have anything selected, it doesn't give me that option. You can print the current page, do a custom print. Well, let me click off and click back and select some text and say that I just want to print that selection. Then I can do Control F2 or click on the File tab, come down here and select Print, but the shortcut keys zip me right to it. Once I have it selected, I can go ahead and click on Print All Pages. Hey, and there it is. It now allows me to select Print Selection because I have something selected in my document. And we can go ahead and click and do a custom print if I want to get a specific page, range, or sections. When I choose that, it dumps me right down into the page box here. And when you hover over it, it gives you some examples of what you need to enter in there to get the pages that you want or the sections. You can see down at the bottom, you can type in 1 for page 1, and if you want to skip 2, then go comma, type in 3, and then if you want to do, like let's say we had 200 pages, we want to print page 1, 3, and maybe 5 through 20, and then we can go comma, maybe on page, we'll type in P25, and the reason why I'm typing in P25 is because I want to be able to add the S after it, so that's page 25, S is for section, and we can do 1. And let me go ahead and hover back over it again. You can see the example. That's how you do it. The page number, and then S for section, and the section number. And if you want to go like page 1 through page 8 and the sections, well, you can see down there, page 1, section 3 through page 8, section 3. Now, what is a section? We'll talk about that in a later training video. And what you'll be able to do is to take a page and section it off, as many sections as you want. And what that does is that you can actually control the layout for that section. Like if I wrote this off and say, okay, this top part is section 1, this bottom part is section 2, you can actually change the layout above or in section 1 to be 2 columns without affecting the section below. Pretty cool. Okay, I expect to see you watching that training video. And then after, if you want to go ahead and not do that, but just print all pages, delete it, goes back to print all pages. You can print one-sided, or go ahead and, if you got the option on your printer to print on both sides, fabu. Let me click off. And then you can do collation. The default is that if you want to print off 10 copies by typing in 10, it'll print, well, I got 3 pages, 1, 2, 3, and then the second copy will be 1, 2, 3, then the third copy 1, 2, 3, as opposed to, well, 10 of the first page, then 10 of the second, then 10 of the 3. And so they're not organized together. If I didn't want that, then I'd choose uncollated, which is uncool for me because I like it collated, so I'm glad that that's the default. You can change the paper size, default's the letter. Then the margins, they're normal. You can choose other margins because sometimes if the margins are so small that your printer can't handle them, that it starts cutting it off, you may want to choose something that's a bit larger. The default typically is 1 by 1 by 1 for the top, left, right, and bottom, the 1-inch margins. But you can try to push the printer's envelope and get something that's smaller. You can also do a custom setting, and I'll go over margins in more detail in a later training video. Then click off, and then you got the default page 1 per sheet, or you can do 2 pages per sheet, which if I do that, well, that's going to shrink the text and nobody will be able to read it, so that's not cool. Let's go back to 1 sheet. And then finally, you can click on it. You can scale to paper size. And then if everything looks grizzly, then go ahead and click on the print button and away you go. Now, if you need some help and I'm not available, then the next best option is to come up here, and new to Office 2016 is that light bulb, the tell me what you want, what you really, really want feature that when I hover over it, you can see in the pop-up below, it says just start typing here to bring features to your fingertips and get help. Okay, click in it, and then type in a keyword or keywords that you want to get help on, like comments. I want to learn more about them, or maybe insert one, because the first section up at the top gives you the commands you can go ahead and click on it to execute it, like to insert a comment. And as you recall in an earlier training video, you can also right-click on it to add it to the quick access toolbar. That way, you don't have to keep typing in comments to bring up that command, or go to the review tab to insert comments. You can just come up here and click on it and insert a comment in a single click. So you get the commands, and then if you want to learn about it and not execute a command, then you can get help on comments. When you hover over it, it opens up a window here. You can insert or delete a comment, learn more about it, change the author name for review comments. Let's go ahead and choose one, this one. Opens up the Help Task pane. It gives you a summary of it, and then it asks, what do you want to do? Well, I'd like to learn how to insert a comment. Click on it, and hey, it gives us some step-by-steps. Isn't that fun? Now, when you're done with that, you can, of course, go ahead and close out of the task pane, or you can click in the search help box here, type in some additional keywords, and look it up by clicking on the lookup button. Or you have the build button, the ellipsis, go ahead and click on it, and you can go to the home part of the help task pane. When you click on it, it takes you to the start screen. And in earlier versions of Word, it used to be a little question mark in the upper right hand corner that you click on and it would bring up the screen. In any case, that's where it takes us, and we can go ahead and type in some keywords. We can look at some of the top help topics, or we can click on the build button again and go to the Office Help Center. Maybe that can shed some light on a few things. There's popular topics, topics by category, close out, or finally, click on it again. And if you're brave, go ahead and contact them. So click on it, and it wants you to describe your issue and get you to the right person. So type in the details. The more we can help. Click in the box and say, I have some comments. It's not very detailed, but give more than that. and then be sure to read the privacy policy if you accept it, and then go ahead and click Next. And it gives us some articles that they want you to look at so you don't waste time chatting when it's already there. But if you still want to chat, go ahead and click on Chat. I'm not going to do that. I'm good. And when I'm done, I can go ahead and close out or go back. Let me go ahead and close out and come back up here and type in printing, different keyword, and there's some print commands that I can go ahead and click on, get help on printing. There's some articles or instructions to help me, or I can go to all help and support. Opens up the help task pane, the same view that we were in just moments ago. Or let me go ahead and close out of that. Let's go ahead and type in printing again. You can also do what's called a smart lookup on printing. And you can see in the pop-up, you can learn more about the text you select by, well, we don't have it selected down here. We typed it in here, but if you also had it selected, you can see definitions, images, and other results from various online sources by clicking on it to bring up the corresponding task pane for printing, and you can explore it or define it. First of all, exploring it, let's see, Wikipedia explains it here. You can get more, or scroll down and find out what's on the web, like, hey, here's a company, vistaprint.com. Ooh, that's fancy. I hope they can get my website up there. In any case, you can see what they got there, or click more, and continue your search here. And you can go ahead and click back, and maybe you want to define it. What's printing? There it is as a noun. The production of books, newspapers, or other printed material. And as a verb, you can also listen to the pronunciation. So you may have not heard it, but I'll let you try it on your end. And we'll go ahead and close out. A couple of other ways you can do a smart lookup. If you don't want to come up in here and type in a keyword, save yourself some time, like if I want to look up cure all, you can either go ahead and click anywhere within the word and come up here, click on the References tab, go to the Research group and click on Smart Lookup. It brings up the corresponding task pane for cure all, the pronunciation, again, listen to it, the noun. You can explore it, you can define it, or let me close out. You can go ahead and let's right click on this word and do a smart lookup. That's a lot faster. When in doubt, right click, because chances are when you do, you'll get what you're looking for. And in this case, the smart lookup again. So exploring and defining. And if you want to try your luck, you may want to go ahead and instead of just right clicking on a word, select a group of words and see how Smart Lookup handles it and see if it's that smart. Right click. Let's test it. Smart Lookup. What does it do? Okay, from there, disease, harsh environmental conditions. It's thinking maybe mold, climate change because it talks about the environment, environmental factors. What are we defining? A noun. Well, it went with the first word in the selection, disease. There are many ways you can go about navigating through your document, the least of which is that you can use the scrolly button on your mouse to scroll down or up. And if you don't have one or you don't want to use it, the other options you get is over to the far right, you have the scroll bar that you can go ahead and click on the down arrow to scroll down line by line or up line by line. Or if you want to go a little bit more of a jump, you can go ahead and click on the scroll bar, hold it down with the left mouse button, and you can see over to the left-hand side you get a pop-up. It tells me the page that I'm on that I can go ahead and drag down really fast. And you can see it change to page 4, but you don't have to go that fast. But if you have tons of pages, like hundreds, ooh, that scroll bar gets super tiny. And when you click and drag it, man, that's going to jump. So that may not be the best option. Let me slowly scroll back up for larger documents. So some other options you can get is by right-clicking on the scroll bar and say that you want to scroll here. Well, not here where the scroll bar is at, so let me click off and say that I want to right-click and scroll here. And it takes me to that point. Cool. Let's right-click again, and we can go to the top of the document, right-click to go to the bottom. You can also page down. It doesn't go to the next page, it just advances several lines, more so than going line by line. You can right-click and go page up, or you can do the incremental line by lines as we just did by clicking the up and down arrows on the scroll bar by clicking on scroll up, and it goes up one line and down one line at a time. And you'll notice that when I don't move my mouse after several seconds, the scroll bar disappears. That's okay, just move your mouse to make it reappear. Now some shortcut keys to help you navigate through your document, let me go ahead and click over here, is that if you want to get to the beginning of the document, you can hold down the Control key and hit Home, takes us to the beginning, or Control End to take us to the end of the document. Not Control the letter N as in Nancy, because if you do that, you'll get a new document. But hey, congratulations, now we know how to create a new document by holding down Control and the letter N. In any case, we also have the page up and page down keys on the keyboard. Page up takes us up several lines at a time. It doesn't take us to the top of each page, but if you want to be able to go to the top of each page, then hold down the Control key while you're hitting page up or page down. So if I go page up, it takes me to the top of the next page, or page down, takes me to the top of the next page going down. And you can see my cursor is flashing there. You can also use the arrow keys to go right, left, down, or up. And if you want to be able to advance a little bit more than just character by character, or in this case letter by letter, hold down the Control key, hit the right arrow key, and it goes word by word. Oh my word. And Control left to go left. And if I want to be able to go to the beginning of the line, you can hit the Home key on the keyboard. There's the cursor. And then to get to the end, hit the End key, and it goes right to the end of the line. Now what about selecting text? We want to learn how to select text because if we want to be able to apply formatting, we want to make sure that we do it right and select what we want to format. So to select text, you can simply just click and drag to select your text. And if you want to select additional text, but not linearly, where it's not right next to it, but like this part and also a part down here, hold down the Control key and click and drag. And if you made a mistake, you want to start over, because if you're like, oh, let me go back and do it again, and you click and drag, that's not going to work. Because you see my pointer, and just below it, it has a plus sign. That means it's going to copy that. Congratulations, now we know how to click and drag a selection to create a duplicate of it. And if I let go, you see that? And that's not going to work. So when it comes to clicking and dragging to make a selection, you want to click off and click and drag to reselect. Because if you click and drag the selection, well, you see what happens. And then you'll notice that when you click and drag and you let go, you get the mini formatting toolbar that appears up and to the right. So when I move away from it, down and to the left, it starts to fade away until it disappears. That way, if I want to be able to apply some quick formatting to the selected text without coming up here on the ribbon, oh, see, I moved too far, now it's not going to reappear. Unless I want to go ahead and right-click on the selected text, then it reappears, or click off, and then click and drag to reselect it, then it reappears. Then I can go ahead and do bold, underline, well, you get the idea. Deselect it to get rid of it, or you can go ahead and hit undo. You can also, let me click off, double click just to select an entire word, or triple click to select an entire paragraph. Now what defines it as a paragraph? As you recall in an earlier training video, when you come up here on the Home tab to the paragraph group and turn on the show codes, whenever you hit the Enter key on the keyboard, it leaves behind a paragraph marker. So from here to that second paragraph marker, everything in between is a paragraph. So if I triple click really fast here, it selects everything between those two paragraph markers, that paragraph. Not what we see as a paragraph, but wherever we hit the Enter key on the keyboard. So when I triple click here, you can see it just selected what appears to be the line, but according to Microsoft Word, we got a paragraph marker here, one above it, that it selects everything in between those two, so it sees this as its own paragraph. Let me go ahead and turn off those codes. You can also select your text by coming over to the left-hand side in the margin, and notice that it goes from an I-beam when I go over into the margin to an arrow pointing inwards, that when you click, it selects the entire line. So if I click and drag down or drag up, oh, isn't that fun? You can also hold down the Control key and click down here to select additional lines, and also hold down the Control key and double click here, click and drag there. Well, you get the idea. Then go ahead and click off to deselect all that. You can also do block selections, so with my cursor flashing there, if I hold down the Shift key and I click down here, it selects everything from the flashing cursor down to where I clicked. Click off. What about shortcut keys? Well, as you recall, when I hit the left arrow key, I go to the left, go to the right. But if I hold down the Shift key and I hit the right arrow key, it selects it character by character or letter by letter. But if I hold down the Control Shift key and I hit the right arrow key, it'll do it word by word. Let me go ahead and click off. I can also select everything from that point where the cursor is flashing to the end of the document or to the beginning of the document. So for example, like to the end from that point, go ahead and do Control Shift End, and it automatically takes us right to the end of the document from that point. Let me go ahead and click and drag the scroll bar up so you can see that it's selected everything from that point to the end. Let me go ahead and click back there again, Control-Shift-Home, everything from that point to the beginning of the document. Well, let me scroll down, that point there. Click off. And finally, if you want to select everything within your document, Control-A. Everything has been selected from top to bottom. Well, except those that are in the headers and footers, which we'll talk about in a later training video. I want to show you how you can move, insert, and copy text, not only within the same document, but to other documents as well. First off, how to insert text. So if you already have text here and you want to add some more, that's simple. Wherever you want to add it, like in between these two words, just click so you can add the cursor, because wherever that's at, when you start typing, that's where it's going to dump the text into. So when you're ready, just start typing. And you can see that it pushes everything over to the right of the flashing cursor. And if you keep on typing enough, not only to the right, but down, to make way for everything that we just typed in that was inserted to the left of the cursor. Next, let's learn how to move text around. And you can do that by selecting the text first that you want to move. So you can click and drag to select a letter, a word, or double click to select a word, or triple click to select an entire paragraph, or all the different ways that we learned how to select text in the previous training video. In any case, once you have your text selected, to move it, one way is to go ahead and click on it with the left mouse button and drag it up or down. And when I go up, you'll see that the pointer now has a fuzzy box below it. That's the contents of what I've got selected that I'm dragging with the pointer. And wherever the pointer goes, that's not where the text is going to be dumped. It's where the black line is. So if I come up here and I want to dump it in between E and M, it doesn't do it because there's no space. So it goes over to the left and says, hey, we got a space over here in between these two words that I can dump your text into. Or if I move it over to the right far enough, then it says, okay, I'll snap over there and say, you can move it in between these two words to dump it because we have some space there, or the space bar, a single space. And then go ahead and let go, and that's where it dumps it. Now before I go ahead and click and drag it back because I don't want it there, or I can hit the undo button, notice over and down below it, you get these options. They're called paste options because when you're clicking and dragging, you're actually pasting it to a new location. So when you click on it, you got some paste options that we'll go over in just a moment. Let's go ahead and click off and hit undo, because to me that's a lot easier than clicking and dragging it back. Thank goodness for that undo button, which we'll cover in a couple of training videos. And if it's not within the same viewing area that you want to drag this selection to, good luck. I'm not that great at it, but I'll show you. Click and then drag down. If I need to go down a couple of pages, keep moving it down until it starts scrolling. And then to go faster, move it closer to the status bar. Faster, faster until you, oh, I just hit the status bar. I get a black circle with the line through it that says, we can't drag it to the status bar, silly. Okay. Then slowly move it back up and it starts picking up speed. And oh, it needs, no, I need to go up here. And what if I want to dump it? Oh, I missed the page. That could be a mess. If I want to start over, I have to let go of the mouse button and it dumps it right there. So let me go ahead and hit undo to get rid of that. Again, thank goodness for the undo. Instead, for me, the other way to do it is to cut and paste it, because when I cut it, it won't paste it until I'm ready to paste it, until I got my spot selected to paste it into, as opposed to dragging it and overshooting the line or the area that I want to drag it to. So to cut and paste, make sure you still got it selected, then come up here on the Home tab to the Clipboard group, and there's the pair of scissors. Yay! Let's do some cutting and pasting. So you can see when I hover over it, you got the shortcut keys Control-X as another way to cut your text. And so if I click on it, it removes the selected text because we cut it out of the document. And where does it go to? Well, up here on that clipboard, where we can go ahead and paste it when we're ready. But I'm not ready yet. Let's go ahead and hit undo and use the shortcut keys Control-X. See, it cuts it. Let's go ahead and hit undo, or you can go ahead and right click on the selection, and in the shortcut menu you get the cut option. Cut it, disappears, or let me undo. If you right click and hold the right mouse button down and move, it looks like we're clicking and dragging with the left mouse button, but I'm doing it with the right mouse. So there's no indication here that lets you know by watching my training video that I've got the right or the left mouse button down, but it is the right, that when I let go of it, it gives me a new shortcut menu where I can move it, copy it, link here, create a hyperlink, and we'll cover the links later, but I can go ahead and left click on move here and it moves it there. So let me go ahead and hit undo. So having said that, when you right click on the selection, if you don't move the mouse, you get one shortcut menu. But if you got a shaky hand in your right click, whoops, then it deselects it. But if you got a shaky hand in your right click, you got to hold still if you don't want this other shortcut option to move. So hold still and right click, and then you can go ahead and cut it. Now to paste it, yay! You can go ahead and scroll down and pick your spot, plant it, stake it, call it yours. Once the cursor's flashing there, then we can go ahead and paste it, which is a lot easier than clicking and dragging it and trying to get it just right there. So to paste it, you can do it one of many ways. You can, of course, come up here on the Home tab to the Clipboard group and click right on the clipboard, the Paste button, and you can see in the pop-up the shortcut keys are Control-V as in Victor. So click on it, it does a simple paste. You get some paste options, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Let's go ahead and hit undo and use the shortcut keys Control-V as in Victor. It pastes it, and you get those paste options again. So when I click on it, it's the same three paste options, and they are, with the paintbrush, you can keep the source formatting. So if I had anything in here that had formatting applied to it, all right, I'm going to do it. Fine, I'll do it. I'll apply some formatting. Let me hit undo a couple of times. Come up here and keep it simple. Double click on a word. In the mini formatting toolbar, let me click on the color red, the default color. I know this is a little bit advanced in a later training video, how to apply formatting to text, but I need to do it here so I can show you what's going on. So you can see we've got red, then select it. And then, like I said, clicking and dragging is the same as cutting and pasting because you get the same paste options, but I'll hit undo. And we'll just go ahead and Control X to cut it and scroll down here. And then when you paste it, again, it pastes it the way you had it, but it gives you the options to say, okay, if you don't want to keep the source formatting, the formatting that's currently applied to it, then you can go ahead and say that you want to merge the formatting. So you can see it gives me a preview before I click on it that the red is now gone. When I go back to keep source, the red reappears on the word ask. So when I merge it into something, if it already has formatting there, like if everything was in green and I went into a green formatted area, then when I clicked on merge, it would merge and everything would become green, or whatever the formatting that was applied to that area. And that little smart tag doesn't go away, at least not yet. Click on the drop down arrow so you can keep changing your options and say, look, I don't want to keep the source formatting. I don't want to insert it into the current formatting. I just simply want text only. Click on that and all formatting is gone. Now to get rid of this, if you don't want that smart tag because it's in the way because I want to get below it and I can't see the word behind it, you need to do something else. If you actually hit the space bar, that's an action that will remove it and saying, okay, we're done. We're not going to allow you to choose any more paste options. And if you want to bring those paste options back up again, well, you'd have to cut and paste or click and drag, or we'll do in just a minute, copy and paste to get those paste options. Let me go ahead and hit undo a couple of times. We've got it there. And then we can cut it. And finally, when you want to paste it, you can also come up here on the Home tab to the Clipboard group and click on the Paste drop-down arrow to get the same options. Now let's go ahead and click off and undo that. So we're right back up at the top here. Not only can you do this within the same document, but you can also do it to other documents as well. And what I show you when it comes to cutting and pasting, it's the same as copying and pasting, which I'll cover in just a minute. Except the difference is instead of cutting it out of one part of the document so it's no longer there, you're saying duplicate it and then pasting it somewhere else. So with it selected, you can go ahead and click Cut. And then we can open up a new document, File, down to New, Blank Document, or instead of a blank document, you can open up a previously saved document and then go ahead and paste it here. You can right-click and you get the paste options. Ooh, we get some different ones. It says you can use the destination theme for this document because this document may have a different theme than the previous document. And we'll talk about themes in a later training video. But outside of that, you get the same other three options. You can keep the source formatting, you can go ahead and merge formatting, and you can see it's just a preview because when I come back here, you'll see the red has disappeared when I go to merge because there's no formatting in the current document. And so that's nice before I actually click on it to apply it to see if I like what I see in the preview here. And then keep text only, it does nothing because there's no formatting here. So I can go ahead and click on it and there we go. Now you're probably looking at this and going, how come that's so close to the top? Well, if I hover over the top border, I get these two arrows pointing up and down that says double click to show white space. So it's hiding the extra white space. Or my top and bottom margins of the document. Let me double click, and you can see over here in the vertical ruler, it opens up and displays the top margin. In any case, I'll show you that in a later training video, but the purpose behind that is that if you don't want to scroll from one page to the next and get to the bottom of one page and have a lot of white space, then the top of the next page with a lot of white space, that's great for printing it off, but when it comes to reviewing a document, I don't want to have to scroll extra white space to get to the next text. I just want to have it all collapse together and not look at the top and bottom margins of every page. In any case, I digress. We now have it pasted. Now you're probably asking yourself, wait a second, if the clipboard is in another document, how does it carry over to a new document or one that's been previously saved? Well, that's just the way it works. It's part of the Office or operating system. Actually, when you copy something, you can even open up another application like PowerPoint or Excel and paste it in there. For example, let me come down here and click on Excel. Oh, this is going to be a mess. You can see up here on the Home tab in the Clipboard group, the paste button is hot, meaning that it's active. When I click on it, it pastes it in Excel. So the clipboard actually is something that's part of the operating system that once you copy it to it, the applications just identify that you have something there by saying that the paste button is highlighted. Otherwise, if it was clear and you closed out of all the applications, then you wouldn't have anything on the clipboard and it would be clear. Then you can go ahead, when you copy something else, it would start it up again. So let's go ahead and close out of here, not save it. And let's go over copying. So if I go ahead and hit undo, it gets rid of it, and go back to my document here and hit undo, it brings it back. And instead of cutting it this time, I'd like to keep it there. I just want to go ahead and copy it to another document because maybe it's something that I'm highlighting and saying, here's the highlight of my paper here. So again, you want to right click on it to make sure that it's on the clipboard without cutting it. And so we'll click on copy, and you can copy one of many ways. That's with the right click. Of course, you can also right click and hold down the left mouse button and let go. It brings up copy here as opposed to move here. Click off. Ooh, you better select it again. Let's come over here in the margin and click and drag. There we go. And you can come up here on the Home tab to the Clipboard group. We did the scissors, and we've got the two papers, which is the copy feature, and Control-C will work. Click on it, and it's copied to the clipboard, or just go ahead and do Control-C. Now when you copy something, there's no dancing clown that comes out and says, hey, we're on the clipboard now. No, it's not like cutting where you can actually see it gone and go, okay, it's gone somewhere. I assume Word's doing its thing and it's on the clipboard. In any case, you just have to trust that it's been copied to the clipboard, and you can find that out by, well, when you paste it. So if I come down here, and I can paste it one of many ways, as we learned, right click, and go ahead and choose one of the options. And we'll just keep text only. We can go ahead and undo. And all the other ways that we talked about when it comes to pasting. And it's still on the clipboard, so if I go to another document or another application, you can see up here that the paste is there, that I can go ahead and click paste, and I can click paste and paste and paste and keep doing it till the cows come home, or until I copy something else or cut it and add it to the clipboard, and then in which case it's going to be an entirely different content, text, or even objects. You can cut and paste objects as well. And finally, available up here, when you click on the drop-down arrow, the paste is the Paste Special. When you click on it, you've got some different ways of pasting it, like maybe as a picture so you can't edit it. You can also do it as a link, and the two options you get is the word hyperlink and then the HTML format. The word hyperlink, as you can see down below, inserts the contents of the clipboard as text with font and table formatting, so with the formatting and the HTML format, and then just the simple HTML format. So what's the difference? Well, let's go ahead and do Word. Click Okie dokie, and then let's try paste drop down arrow again, paste special, paste link, HTML format, inserts the contents, but not as a hyperlink, as this one says. So when I insert it, any changes that I make in the other document that it's linked to will update it here, but it won't allow me to, well, like this one up here, when I hover over it, hold down the Control key and click on it to go right to it in the other document. Well, that's fun. But if I come in here, and I delete everything in front of the ask, and I go back to the other document, it updated it. Well, not the word, because that one is inserted as a hyperlink, so it's static. But when we hold down the Control key, as it says in the pop-up, and click on it, it'll take us to that other document, as opposed to down here where it's just a one-way link, where what happens over there displays over here, but doesn't allow us to go back to that document with a Control click. As you recall in the previous training video, we learned how to cut, copy, and paste text. It also works with objects, images, and shapes. And when you cut or copy something, it adds it up here on the Home tab in the Clipboard group right onto the clipboard. Now, it's not activated or highlighted because since the last training video, I closed out of all the applications, so it cleared it out. If I want to be able to have something on there, well, I got to add it by either copying or cutting. So let's come down here, double click on a word to highlight it, keep it simple, and go ahead and click on the copy button, and hey, it added it, highlighted, activated the clipboard. So it's on there. You want to see it on there? Alrighty, come down here, hover over the bottom right hand corner. You can see in the pop-up that you've got the clipboard and it's got images as well as text, because again, you can copy or cut both, and it says you can see all the items you copied to the clipboard. So go ahead and click on its expandable dialog box button. There's the clipboard, and hey, there it is, introduce. Well, that was fun. We're done. No, I'm kidding. This can be very helpful, and to actually utilize it, let me close out. And let's pretend that we've got some text up at the top here that we want to copy, and scroll down and paste it down below. Well, if I want to be able to paste introduce, that was simple. Just come down here and do Control V as in Victor to paste it. And I can come up here and select ask and Control C to copy, then come down here to paste it. And then I got to come back. You see, that gets annoying. How about if we just go ahead and copy them all, and then when we're ready, paste them all down below. Now without the clipboard, I can only copy one at a time, meaning that after I copy it to the clipboard, it only remembers or pastes the most recent copy. Well, let's come up here and expand it and see what we got on there. So the most recent is ask. So it's only going to paste that. But when I open up the clipboard, I can choose. Hey, isn't that fun? So I can scroll down here with those items copied to it, and it will accept up to 24 items. And so after I copied what I want up on page 1, I can come down here, and if it was some objects or images or even the text, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. I don't have to paste the most recent. I can also paste, well, anything else that's on the clipboard. And how do you do that? Well, you can just simply click on it and it adds it. Or you can hover over, click on the drop-down arrow and paste it as well. You also get the option to remove it. You can also right-click and get the same options. And so I can do that and say that goes here, this comes down here, paste that, then I can still use the items that I pasted to the clipboard, but in non-linear order, or the most recent. And then when I'm done, again, you can go ahead and click on the drop-down arrow and delete it, or go ahead and click Clear All, in which case you can see that the clipboard is now inactive, or not highlighted because there's nothing on it. Let's go ahead and scroll up, and let's copy the title. Control C adds it right to the clipboard, and do a few more vehemently, and whatever you want to copy or cut to the clipboard, it adds it. Let's do some cutting. How about if I just go ahead and use this quote and Control X, it disappears and it's on the clipboard. Not only does it work within this document, but also works in other documents or even other applications like Excel, PowerPoint, Access. Just go ahead and open it up. Hey, the clipboard came with me. Isn't that fun? So now I can go ahead and choose what I want with where I want, and not the most recent. So I can go ahead and choose the cell here, vehemently, and choose the cell down here, Faith, Hope, and Charity. Well, you get the idea. So if you have a project that requires at least up to 24 items to copy and paste, you don't have to go back and forth and copy and paste one at a time. Ooh, that's very annoying. Let's go ahead and close out of Excel, not save it. And in addition to the Clear All, of course, you got the Paste All. How's that going to work? Let me click here and hit Enter a couple of times. So we've got some space, gappage, click on Paste All, and it slammed it all together. We went Faith, Hope, then went vehemently, and all the way back up to the most recent copy here, or cut. So if it doesn't work because it's all crammed together, well, let's go ahead and hit Undo. Now you do have some options with the clipboard down below. Click on it to see what we got. By default, it'll show the Office clipboard icon on the taskbar. I don't see it. Let's come over here because it's hidden. Click on it and there it is. And it says we've got 4 of 24 because 24 is the maximum amount that when you copy or cut will be available in the clipboard. Click on it. You can go ahead and right click on it. And well, it's already showing, so I don't need to say show. I can go ahead and clear everything on the clipboard, stop collecting, or other options, which is the same options that we see over here when I click on the options in the clipboard. That, as you saw, shows the clipboard icon on the taskbar. And then the default shows status near taskbar when copying. The others that you can choose is you can collect without showing the Office clipboard, show the Office clipboard when you hit Control-C twice, and show the Office clipboard automatically. Let's just do this one. You can play around with the other ones. So if I go ahead and close out of here, and I come down here and select Pledge of Allegiance, and I hit Control-C twice, once, twice, hey, it opened up the clipboard. And in fact, it's not hidden down below on the taskbar behind the Show Hidden Icons. It's now showing right here. And of course, you can still right-click to get the same options. Go ahead and clear all and close out. If you ever make a mistake, okay, first off, I'm just assuming that you may make mistakes, but hey, if you're like me, we all make mistakes. And then you can undo what you just did by coming up here on the Quick Access toolbar, and there's the undo button. It's not highlighted now because I haven't performed any action to undo. And then you've got the repeat and redo button. It's a double agent. So if you ever do something and you want to undo it, after you undo it, you can go ahead and it'll turn into a redo. However, if you perform an action and you don't undo it, just an action, like typing in some text or formatting, this will be the repeat, for example. If I go ahead and do Control-A and select all the text within the document, and I hit the delete key on the keyboard, and I'm like, uh-oh, didn't want to do that. I want to change my mind. Come up here, you can hit the undo button, and when you hover over it, you get the shortcut keys. If you don't want to hit the undo button because it's too far up at the top, then go ahead and do Control-Z, or while I'm there, I'll just hit the undo button, and it brings it back. And if I'm like, I changed my mind, let's come back up here, and you get the redo of the undo. So I can go ahead and redo what I just undid and undo what I just redo to undo. And you can use the shortcut keys Control-Y and Control-Z to undo and redo. Correspondingly, that is. So you've got the Control-Z to undo and the Control-Y to redo. Now again, that will only appear to redo after you undo something. But if I come down here and I type in something, then instead of undoing, because that's not the most recent thing that I did, I actually performed an action, then it converts it from the redo to the repeat. So I can go ahead and click on it, and it repeats the same thing that I just typed. Isn't that fun? And I can keep clicking on it and repeating that over and over again. So if I do something in one part of the document and I don't want to type in the same thing again or apply the same formatting, then you can just come down and, hit the repeat for repeating the text or repeating the format that you applied to one part of your document to another part. And in addition to that, you also have the Control-Y that works for the repeat as well, and also the F4 key. So if I do Control-Y, it repeats, or if I hit the F4 key, it's the same thing. But as far as the Control-Y goes, that works as a double agent. So if you're repeating, it'll go ahead and repeat it. But if you're undoing, like I come up here, and notice when I hit undo, this will convert to a redo because it only follows after I undo something to redo. Okay, we'll go ahead and redo that. Now, if you made a lot of mistakes and you don't want to hit undo, undo, undo over and over again, and then you can click on its corresponding drop-down arrow and it keeps track of all the things that you've done. Well, I haven't tested it to see how much it keeps track of, but you can go down to this point where if you select it, you can see it's going to undo 8 actions up until where it says type in something. Go ahead and click on it. It undoes the 8 actions right up to type. And then I can click on the drop down arrow again, and I just have 2 remaining actions to undo. I can go ahead and redo and redo and redo and redo, redo and redo and redo and redo, and I'm back to where I started with those 10 actions. If you need to get to a place within your document really fast, in other words, to navigate to certain places, and you don't want to scroll and read everything again to find that specific place, if you know the keyword or words, then I recommend that you use the navigation pane. And that can be brought up one of a couple of ways. either come up here on the Home tab to the Editing group and click on Find, and it opens up the navigation pane, or go ahead and close out. You can use the shortcut keys Control F, opens up the same window. And before I go ahead and type in my keyword or words, you can search by 3 different options, either by headings, pages, or just basic results based upon those keywords. First of all, headings. Now you'll notice over here in my document, I've got a heading for these paragraphs, Faith, Hope, and Charity. And let me go ahead and click in it and scroll down to the next heading, What is Glenn? And then finally, This is Glenn. So I have a total of 3 headings. Now when it came to creating my headings, I just didn't type in some text and made it bold and big and bad and beautiful, because Word will not recognize that as a heading unless you use one of its styles. And the styles can be found up here on the Home tab in the Styles group. And right now, we've got a normal style selected, but if I go ahead and click into a heading style, what I did is I typed in my text, This is Glenn, and I applied the heading style, Heading 1. Of course, you can click on the More button, and there's more heading styles that you can use, but right now I just used Heading 1. And we can learn more about heading styles in a later training video, but I wanted you to know right off the bat that when you're searching for headings within your document, it's got to be proprietary to Word, something that it recognizes as a heading and not something that you just put together. And so you're looking at this thinking, hey, I don't like this size for Heading 1, I don't like the color. That's okay, you can come up here and right-click on the style and you can modify it. So you can make changes to the default template or style here, and then apply it to your text. But I digress. I want to keep it simple, but I do want you to know that when you're searching for headings in the navigation pane and you come over here and click on headings, it found 3 because I used the styles, the Heading 1 style specifically, something that Word recognizes as a heading, and plopped it over here. Now if I had Heading 2 and 3, they would be subheadings, wouldn't they, to the Heading 1, like for Faith, Hope, and Charity. If I had Headings 2 and 3, they'd be underneath that. So what's cool about this is that I can go ahead and go right to What is Glenn? Oh, isn't that fun? And go right back to Faith, Hope, and Charity in a single click. Now, in addition to that, well, without using the navigation pane, when you hover over a heading style, you get this little triangle that's pointing down. When I come over and it turns blue and I click on it and it collapses everything that's underneath that heading style to the next one, because that's all subtext to that heading. And so that way I can go ahead and collapse them all, so I can just focus on the headings. Well, I can do that over here, but I can collapse it if I want to jump right to what is Glenn and not have to scroll. That is, if I don't have my navigation pane open, and I can just hover over here and do it in a single click. Let me go ahead and expand that to bring it back open, and go down to This is Glenn and expand that as well. And let's go ahead and zip right back up to the top here. Now let's go ahead and type in a keyword, like let's type in correct, because I want to be able to search for that, and it found it, and it found 1 result. And when we're searching under headings, it found it under the heading Faith, Hope, and Charity, and you can see over here in the document, it's under Faith, Hope, and Charity, and it's highlighted. Of course, What is Glenn isn't highlighted, so it's not found underneath that heading, or This is Glenn as well. Let's go ahead and do another one. Come up here and click on the X to clear it. Click in the box, and let's do American and see what kind of results we get. And it looks like it's all under just the same heading, Faith, Hope, and Charity, as our first search, 7 results. I can go ahead and use the down arrows to navigate from one to the next. So now I'm on result 2 of 7, and continue down, go back up. And those are the results for our headings. If I want to search by pages, I can go ahead and click on pages, and everything is found on one page. And if I go ahead and scroll down, does that heading all fit on one page? Well, except right at the end. If I typed in America, it would have found it on page 2. So if I come up here and delete the last letter N, now it's found on actually all 3 pages, 1, 2, and 3. So I can go ahead and go right to page 2. It's highlighted. Page 3, where's it at? Ooh, down at the bottom. Any more? No, we're good. And nothing on page 4. And then finally, if you're not searching by headings or pages, you can do by results here. And the reason behind that is that it gives you some context about the keyword that you're searching for, because, you know, a lot of Americas that you're looking at, but there's one in particular about David Barton who had a quote about America. And so I can look around the surrounding text to see if I find, oh, there it is. You made it right there. So you can see with a little bit of text before and after, I can narrow my search down when I have 11 Americas to search for David Barton. You know, I could have come up here and typed in David Barton, but maybe I have hundreds of quotes from him, but I want to focus on America. So if I come up here and say America, David. Well, the reason why it's not finding it is because it's doing a linear search. Is there an America David? No. When I go ahead and get rid of David, there is an America for this message today, close quote, comma, David Barton. So if I typed it exactly like it read here, then it would go right to that and nothing else. So America for, and that's all I needed to do because there's nothing else in my document that says America for this message today by David Barton. And of course, you can go back to the pages here for your search and go to the headings. And in addition, you don't have to, when you're searching for it, going from one keyword to the next if you have more than one. Instead of clicking on the up and down arrows, you can also hit the Enter key on the keyboard and it will toggle you through, at least going down. And then finally, you do have some options here that you can click on the corresponding drop-down arrow. Well, you got quite a few options, but I'm focused on the options. You got the advanced, find, replace, go to, graphics you can find in tables. We'll cover a lot of this in later training videos, but I'm talking about the navigation pane options. Click on it, and the defaults is that it wants to highlight all the text and do an incremental find. If you don't want to do it incrementally or highlight, uncheck those, and you get the other options, matching the case, finding the whole words only, using wildcards. And you can go ahead and uncheck the defaults if you don't want to highlight all, or check some of the other options to implement. And when you're done, let's go ahead and close out. And then of course you can stop searching so you don't get the highlights over here. And when you're finished completely, you can just go ahead and close out of it. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.